New England's recent strange geologic activity surprising scientists. We look at this beautiful landscape of rolling hills, meadows, mountains, beautiful lakes, and we don't realize that most of this area is made up from ancient volcanic fields, calderas, lakes being craters of old volcanoes. But something is happening there because they've recently found a bulging body of hot magma, and they don't know where it's coming from. The upwelling of magma, the body of the massive magma, the pool that has been found bubbling under New England. This is the area right here, all along here. This is the area all along here. Now we know that Maine is about 200 miles from one end to the other. 200 miles, 210 miles. And in those 200 miles, of course this area here is much more tighter, shorter. There's 5 volcanoes. 4 of them are in a 100-mile stretch. So Maine by itself has 5 volcanoes. And this is the upwelling area here. We're not talking about Canada, Sherbrooke, Montreal. This is where I used to live, Montreal. Then we moved to New York, Manhattan, Long Island. Okay, this is the whole area. We do have volcanoes right across the border in Canada as well, for those who want to know. Now, this is the upwelling of the massive, boiling hot body of magma, right around here, New England. Now, they're not talking about Maine, but this is the area that they're talking about right here. And we'll look into that. We'll see what's happening, because we're having an uptick of earthquakes in the New Madrid seismic zone. We know that it's a failed rift valley. It's the Reelfoot Rift Valley, and this should be called New Madrid Rift Valley, basically, from what geologists are telling us. We have seen an uptick in earthquakes there, and it starts from here with the Mississippi River flanking along the Lake Erie, Lake Ontario, and into the St. Lawrence Seaway right here. As we can see, most of it is cracked. This is cracked. Let's take the lakes as being cracked, and this is cracked. And there's not much to go, really. And it's sloughing off to the southeast. And wherever you have faults, you have, of course, earthquakes, and you have the volcanoes are on fault lines. So this is what we're going to talk about. Basically, it's this area right here where the magma is bulging. That's the area that's bulging. Taking a closer look for those of you who are there. And that's not good, because basically, we have about, I estimated about over 20-25% of the population of the United States lives around the upper northeastern area of the country. 25% of the population. Okay, it's not far from New Jersey, New York, all of this bulging area. So let's take a look at that. Now, most people in the Northeast, New England, don't experience earthquakes. They just think of it as being a very stable, quiet area, geologically speaking. But recently we've had geological activity. Even though it was supposed to be quiet here, it has been quiet for millions of years, from what they say. But recently, Vadim Levin, a geophysicist at Rutgers University, and his team find that there's a more exciting activity going on there. they found a large mass of warm rock, several hundred square miles across, and they say that it's slowly rising beneath parts of New Hampshire, Vermont, and Massachusetts. Could this be a bubbling volcano that's growing near some of the most populated regions of our country? The massive warm rock, it's not warm, it's very hot, can be compared to a slow-moving hot air balloon, he says, and he compares the process to the movement of a lava lamp, similar to rising bubbles in a lamp. Portions of the area under the northeast are bulging and rising because they are slightly warmer than their surrounding material. It may sound alarming, but there probably isn't much to worry about, he says. He says there's no reason for anyone living in New England to lose sleep worrying about a volcano all of a sudden appearing in their backyard. This is according to Tom Murray, who is the director of U.S. Geological Survey Volcano Science Center. The recent study describes the activity that is basically current in geological terms, which could mean hundreds of thousands, if not millions of years. As for an eruption, that is highly unlikely, he says. We're not talking about a molten lava spewing supervolcano, like, for example, that we had in Kilauea recently, nor is it a volcano at all. He says the mantle is liquid, only on geological timescales, that is, millions of years. And Levin goes to explain, he says, in my science, it is common to talk about mantle flow in a mode similar to the flow of a glacier. He says, on human timescales of minutes, days, years, the rocks of the upper mantle from 50 kilometers to 2,900 kilometers in the earth are perfectly solid, he says. But the discovery here completely alters our understanding of Earth's geology and its history, and it makes us question what is going on deep below the surface. He says that the discovery was made possible by data that was given from the project EarthScope. It's a high-resolution data collecting system that looks below the Earth's surface. Even though scientists have a detailed understanding of how the Earth's tectonic plates act and how they move, the region just below in the upper mantle remains an unobserved, unknown area. And Levin describes the possibility that these upwellings, these bulgings, exist only in the Northeast, not only in the Northeast, but also across the whole of the United States. He says images of eastern North America structure at 100 to 200 kilometer depth show at least two more, and they're under Virginia and North Georgia. So it's not just here, they're also in Virginia and North Georgia. And these discoveries may be just the tip of the iceberg, he says, into understanding the complex geology structure of our planet. He says, I will be interested to see if these new techniques of data gathering and seeing what's underneath, used by authors to produce analysis, will reveal similar areas in the upper mantle in other unexpected locations around the United States. If you'd like to join me on my Patreon account, you will hear content not covered by mainstream media. These riveting stories will be based on my research, and I will state my opinions and give my personal insight on diverse and controversial subjects and world events not covered by mainstream media, and not supported by YouTube guidelines. So whatever I have on my Patreon, most of those will not be on my YouTube channel. Please consider becoming a member today. More of the most significant and important videos will be on my Patreon channel. Your support helps me to continue my research and keeps this YouTube channel alive. And we depend on your support, your generous charity, because we help economically challenged families here in Athens, Greece, in Kapota, and we also help the young generation with university tuition and the community around our church. Thank you.